Hello, Chris here. In this video, we're going to talk about pivot points in Blender. When you open Blender and go to this menu, which says Transform Pivot Points, you will have 5 options: Bounding Box Center, 3D Cursor, Individual Origins, Median Point, and Active Element. The default will be Median Point, as you can see. If we change this to bounding box center and select this cube and press R to rotate, as you can see it is rotating like this, then press right click to cancel the movement. We go to top view using number 7 and select these 3 objects, then press R in the keyboard to rotate. This will rotate these objects around a particular point, which is this point, as you can see. We draw a box like this containing all the pivot points of these objects like this. The bounding box center pivot point will be right at the center of this rectangle, which means this will be the pivot point of these 3 objects, as you can see here. This is the bounding box center pivot point. Best example for this type of transformation is if I make a room like this. And if I don't want the position of the objects to change according to the room size, then I can press S in the keyboard and move it like this. This won't change the relation of the objects and its size according to the actual size of the room. Now, change this to 3D cursor. As you can imagine by the name, if I press R in the keyboard, this will rotate the objects along the 3D cursor as the pivot point. If I change the position of the 3D cursor by shift and right clicking and place it here, then press R on the keyboard, as you can see these objects are being transformed around the 3D cursor as using its pivot point. So if I select these 3 objects, then press S in the keyboard to scale. As you can see, the objects are being scaled by using the 3D cursor as its pivot point. The best example for this using 3D cursor as the pivot point. If I go to front view using numbered 1 and move this cube 1 meters here, G to move, Z to move 1 and place it here. If I don't want it to move from the ground, which is this Z0 position, if I press S to scale, as you can see it's moving away from that point. So I can go here and place a 3D cursor at the base of the cube, shift and right click, then go to front view. Then I can scale this cube using the 3D cursor, which means here. As you can see, the baseline of the cube is not moving from the Z position. Now we go to the individual origins. As you can imagine by the name, if I select these 3 objects, this individual origins will transform the objects along its own individual origins, which means if I press S to scale, as you can see the objects are being scaled along their own origins. If you select multiple objects and press R to rotate, as you can see, the objects are being rotated along their own origins. This is useful if you don't want to move the position of the objects, but you want to transform them. As you can see, the position of the objects are not moving, but they are being transformed according to our will. Then we can change this to median point. As you can see, if you go to top view, select this cube, press N in the keyboard. This has an X position of 0. This has an X position of -6 and this has an X position of -3, which means the median of the X value will be -3, which means this line here. Now this has a Y position of 0, this has a Y position of 2 and this has a Y position of -8. So the median of Y position will be -2, which will be here. Now the median pivot point will be this point. As you can see, if I press R to rotate, as you can see, this is the median point of the objects. Best example for median point is if I select this cube and go to edit mode using tab, then select these 2 edges. If I want to scale these 2 edges along the Y axis, which means if I want to bring them closer, then I can change this to median point and S to scale, Y to scale among Y axis. This will scale them along the median point, which means it will bring them closer to one another, or I can scale them according to the median point, which will be from the same distance from here and here. Now the active element pivot point will rotate the objects along the active elements, which means if I press R to rotate, as you can see, This will transform the objects along the origin point of the active element. So if I make this one the active element, if I press R to rotate, this will rotate the objects along that pivot point of this object. As to scale, as you can see, it will be scaled along that point. That's it for this video. Bye for now. See you in the next one.